1927, Dr. Sweeney took 6 medical students. He wanted to give them diabetes. Medical school is 4 years. You know, in 4 years, can you do it? Well, it only took him 2 days. He tested him for diabetes, gave him a sugar pill. Blood sugars rose, stayed below 150, and came back down. They didn't have diabetes or pre-diabetes. This is the glucose tolerance test. Then he fed them 2 days of, and I usually ask people, what do you think you would give someone to cause diabetes? Well, most people say a lot of sugar. Dr. Sweeney, he didn't do this at first. He said, no, I'm going to try oil. He gave them olive oil, creams, butters.
Wow.
For 2 days. And then he retested them. 4 out of 6 blood sugars, when they gave him the sugar pill, went between 150 and 200. That was pre-diabetes. And the other 2 were over 200 at 2 hours, and that was diabetes on the standard glucose tolerance test in just 2 days. He did try the same thing with a high sugar diet for 2 days. He could not produce even pre-diabetes with the sugar. Now, I'm not advocating a high sugar diet, but the key was for diabetes, it was the fats and oils that made them insulin resistant very quickly. We have seen this frequently. If they've had a new diagnosis of diabetes, their pancreas is still producing enough insulin so that if you get rid of the insulin resistance caused by the fats, their blood sugars can come down. Let me explain a little bit. When you take a sugar or starch, your blood sugar goes up, insulin's released. Insulin is a key which looks for the insulin keyhole in the cells. It's an insulin receptor. Insulin goes in the keyhole, opens the door to the cell, sugar leaves the blood, goes in the cell and gets burned. That brings your sugar down. When we take the fats, particularly it looks like it's the oxidized fats. Those fats go in and they plug up the keyholes. Now when you take a sugar or starch, blood sugar goes up, insulin's released, can't get in the keyholes, blood sugars eventually rise. That's what happens initially, and if their pancreas is still producing enough insulin, a few days, generally, if they go on a total vegan diet that's eliminating the meat, the dairy, and the free oils, within several days, usually the blood sugars start coming down, and we have to start cutting back insulin. If they've had diabetes for 10 years, 20 years or so, the second effect happens where the insulin-producing capability of the pancreas decreases. It's called beta cell burnout. Those people are now not producing enough insulin, and even though you get rid of the insulin resistance, because they're not producing enough insulin, they may still have to take insulin. However, we have seen patients with beta cell burnout, the beta cells which make insulin, start to regenerate, and in 6 months to a year, many of them, insulin levels can rise again, and they can eventually get off their insulin. We did see a patient, she was blind from her diabetes, had diabetes for many, many years, in a wheelchair because she was very overweight, couldn't walk on her knees because of the weight, and she made all these changes in 2 years. She lost 100 pounds, and in 1 year we had to get her off her insulin because the blood sugars dropped so much. I should mention that diabetes is a risk factor for cancer. So if you have diabetes, it's very important to make the lifestyle changes to get your diabetes under control and to help decrease your risk of cancer later.